Yep, I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off wasn't just a teen comedy. It was a cultural reset. Cool, clever, and somehow both rebellious and charming at the same time. But what you didn't see behind the scenes, that's where things get really interesting. The script came together faster than anyone expected. One of the film's biggest moments wasn't even supposed to happen. And at one point, they almost gave the school principal something truly bizarre. These are 15 weird facts about Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But wait until you see the bonus. Because the movie almost had a title so awkward, it could have stopped Ferris before his day even started. Grab your shades. This is gonna be fun. Number 1. While most movie scripts take months or even years, John Hughes wrote Ferris Bueller's Day Off in just 6 days. It wasn't a studio assignment. It wasn't developed in meetings. It was Hughes, alone, sitting in his Chicago home, hammering it out in 1 week of pure inspiration. He said he wanted to capture the feeling of freedom, of skipping school, of one perfect day. And here's the wild part. Very little of the final movie changed from that first draft. What you saw on screen was almost exactly what he wrote, start to finish, in a single creative burst. Sometimes the best plans are the ones you don't plan at all. Number 2. Just weeks before filming, Matthew Broderick suffered a serious knee injury while performing on Broadway. With production looming, the studio panicked. Insurance agents raised concerns, and there were quiet conversations about recasting Ferris altogether. But John Hughes refused. He believed no one else could bring the right mix of mischief and charm. So instead of replacing Broderick, they adjusted the early schedule, rewrote some blocking, and even filmed around his limp in early scenes. By the time Ferris was dancing in the parade, he was fully recovered, and no one watching ever suspected how close he came to being replaced. Number 3. That dazed, glassy-eyed look Charlie Sheen had in the police station? It wasn't makeup. It wasn't acting. He literally stayed awake for 2 straight days before filming the scene. Sheen wanted to look strung out, so he did what any method actor would do in the 80s. He just didn't sleep. The result? A cameo so sharp, so weird, and so oddly iconic that it became one of the most quoted scenes in the entire movie. He barely had 3 minutes of screen time, and he stole them all.
Why don't you go home?
Why don't you put your thumb up your butt?
Number 4. Cameron Fry wasn't just the uptight best friend, he was personal. John Hughes later revealed that Cameron was inspired by a close friend he had growing up. Someone who always looked fine on the outside but was quietly unraveling behind closed doors. The pressure, the parents, the feeling of being invisible. That moment when Cameron stares into the shattered Ferrari and whispers, "I'm gonna take a stand."
As the events that affect me unfold to determine the course of my life, I'm going to take a stand.
That wasn't just a movie line. It was a tribute to someone Hughes never forgot, and maybe someone we all knew in high school. Number 5. Cameron's dad's beloved Ferrari? A fake. It wasn't a $300,000 classic. It was a replica, built from a modified MG with fiberglass bodywork. Why? Because they were going to destroy it. And destroy it they did. Multiple cars were built, and several were wrecked in the shoot. One was dropped from a crane. Another was used for the slow-motion crash. And by the end, not a single one survived intact. So yes, it wasn't a real Ferrari. But when that car went through the glass, the pain in your chest, that was very real. Number 6. It's the emotional gut punch of the movie. Cameron finally explodes. Years of pressure, silence, and bottled up pain, all unleashed in one moment, as he kicks his father's beloved Ferrari straight through the glass. But behind that single perfect shot was a technical nightmare. The crew struggled for days to get it right, timing the slow reverse, the crack of the glass, the exact frame the car breaks free. Nothing worked the way they wanted it to. They rebuilt the fake garage wall multiple times, reset the lighting, fought over camera angles. Some takes ran short, others missed the key moment. The tension on set was real and growing. At one point, they considered cutting the scene altogether. John Hughes refused. He knew this wasn't just about a car. It was Cameron's breaking point. The first time he stood up to anyone, so the crew kept going, take after take, until finally it all came together in one perfect crashing moment. The glass shattered, Cameron stood still, and the audience felt it, right in the chest. Number 7. That massive crowd during the twist and shout parade scene? Totally real. Hughes didn't build a parade. He snuck the production into the real Von Steuben Day Parade in downtown Chicago. The city gave them minimal support, no shutdowns, no crowd control, just a window of time and a massive risk. The crowd's energy? 100% authentic. Most people didn't even know they were being filmed. And somehow, in the chaos, Broderick pulled off one of the most iconic dance scenes in movie history in one take. Hey, this day off is already getting out of hand, isn't it? If you're enjoying the ride, hit like and subscribe, because Ferris hasn't even hit third gear yet. In just a moment, we hit the most iconic line in the movie, and it wasn't even in the script. You're gonna want to see how that happened. Stick around. The best skips are still ahead.
Hi.
Do you have a kiss for Daddy?
Are you kidding?
Number 8. He wasn't an actor. He wasn't even supposed to be in the scene. Ben Stein was hired as a technical advisor, but when Hughes asked him to stand in as a boring economics teacher, Stein went full deadpan and improvised the now legendary roll call. Bueller, Bueller.
Bueller, Bueller, Bueller.
It wasn't in the script, no one planned for it, and it became one of the most quoted lines in modern film. Sometimes, the slowest moment in a movie becomes the one you never forget. Number 9. Early drafts of the script gave Principal Rooney a robotic secretary, complete with clunky wheels and mechanical voice. The idea was scrapped before filming started, but concept art still exists. The robot was supposed to take attendance, file reports, and deliver deadpan one-liners. It would have added a layer of sci-fi absurdity. In the end, Hughes cut it to keep the tone grounded, but somewhere in an alternate timeline, Ferris Bueller had a robot subplot, and honestly, we kind of wish it happened.
Grace! Grace! In fact, I debated whether or not I should even leave him. Grace!
Number 10. Ferris racing through backyards and fences to get home before his parents. It wasn't just comedy, it was a love letter to old school slapstick. Hughes modeled the sequence after silent film stars like Buster Keaton and Harold Lloyd. The running, the falls, the visual gags. There's even a trampoline shot inspired by The General. It's a subtle detail, but one that shows how deeply Ferris Bueller respected film history while breaking every rule it could.
Hi. Thank God you're all right. You know, we've been worried sick about you.
Number 11. Ferris Bueller didn't just skip school, he rewrote the rules. Literally, that scene where Ferris fakes a phone call and then hacks into the school's attendance system to erase his absences, it might have seemed like pure Hollywood fantasy, but it was actually pulled straight from real-life headlines. In the early 1980s, Chicago area students were already messing with school databases. Using basic home computers, floppy disks, and early modems, some teens figured out how to dial into district systems and change their grades and absences from home. John Hughes had heard the stories. Quietly, rumors passed through Chicago's tech-savvy teenage circles. He didn't ask too many questions, but he knew it was real enough to write into the movie. So when Ferris taps a few keys and rewrites school records like it's nothing, it wasn't just a joke. It was a wink to kids who knew exactly how far they'd go for one perfect day off. And for the tech-savvy teens of the 80s, that scene wasn't comedy. It was wish fulfillment.
I asked for a car, I got a computer. How's that for being born under a bad sign?
Number 12. Most movies are filmed out of order depending on location and actor schedules, but not this one. John Hughes insisted that Ferris Bueller be shot chronologically from start to finish as much as possible. He believed it would help the cast build momentum, keep their emotional arcs consistent, and let the audience feel the day unfolding naturally. It made production harder, but it worked. By the end, the cast really did feel like they'd just lived one unforgettable day. Number 13. On screen, Ferris and Sloane were flirty, loyal, and effortlessly cool. Off screen, there was something real going on. Matthew Broderick and Sarah Jessica Parker had quietly started dating just before filming began. They kept it low-key, careful not to let it distract from the production. Most of the cast and crew had no idea, but if you look closely, you can feel it. Their scenes together aren't just scripted romance. There's an ease, a warmth that doesn't need direction, the hand-holding, the way she looks at him when he cracks a joke. It wasn't acting, it was two people falling into sync. They stayed together long after the movie wrapped. Eventually, they married and built a life outside of the spotlight. But Ferris Bueller captured them at the beginning, when the connection was fresh, quiet, and just starting to glow. In a film about skipping school and escaping pressure, they found something most teens only dream of: real chemistry, hidden in plain sight. Number 14. Fans noticed something strange about the baseball scene. The game Ferris watches in the stands didn't match the day of the parade. In fact, the scoreboard in the background shows a real Cubs game that happened weeks later. Hughes didn't care. He loved the framing of that moment and used it anyway. And if you ever wondered how Ferris skipped school and somehow caught a future game live, well, maybe he hacked that too. Number 15. To keep energy high and the tone just right, John Hughes started every shoot day the same way, by blasting Twist and Shout through the speakers every single day. For 56 days, the cast and crew heard that Beatles anthem as their morning warm-up. It became the mood setter, the time capsule, and the spark behind Ferris's legendary parade performance. By the end, they were tired, but they were also having the time of their lives. Bonus fact: before it became a classic, it almost became a disaster, at least in name. The original working title for the film was The Young Man and the Day. It sounded more like an art film than a teen comedy. Studio execs liked it. John Hughes hated it. He argued that Ferris needed a name, a tone, a title that meant something. And just days before shooting began, he changed it to what we know now, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. One small change, one unforgettable title, and a moment in movie history that almost never happened. Ferris Bueller's Day Off wasn't just about skipping school. It was about freedom, escape, and the magic of doing absolutely nothing, and making it mean everything. If you saw this show in a whole new light today, go ahead and like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments which fact shocked you the most. Thanks for watching.